Ancient peoples observing the rise and fall of the tides could not have known what caused them, but it didn't matter. They could predict the tides and use them for ocean and river navigation, irrigation from tidal rivers, fishing and other activities. Indeed, for ancient mariners, knowledge of the tides was crucial, even if they didn't know why the seas rise and fall like clockwork. Perhaps when the moon rose over the sea each night, they suspected some connection with it, but before Newton began explaining gravity, nobody could really say what caused the tides. But that doesn't mean they didn't have their own explanations. The ancient Greeks thought the tides were caused by their god of the sea Poseidon pushing the oceans back and forth. Some ancient peoples thought the earth was a living animal and the tides were it breathing in and out. Other cultures noted a rough correlation between the sun and the tides, leading them to think the sun responsible for the sea rising and falling, and yet others thought it was the action of the winds which drove them. We now know, of course, that it's the action of the moon's gravity pulling on the earth which causes the tides, but it's slightly more complex than that because the gravity of the sun also has its part to play. So the tides are the result of the interaction of the Earth with both lunar and solar gravity. So how exactly does this produce the tides? Well, the tides are produced by the moon's gravity pulling on the oceans on the side of the Earth facing it. This causes a rise in sea level known as a tidal bulge. But as a result, the Earth moves ever so slightly towards the moon, attracted by its gravity, and this causes another tidal bulge on the side of the Earth facing away from the moon, as the water, if you like, is left behind. This causes another rise in ocean levels, another tidal bulge. As the Earth rotates, the tides rise and fall around the world in a regular rhythm. Here we are looking down on the Earth's North Pole. While both lunar and solar gravity are always pulling on the Earth, at certain points in its orbit around the Earth, the moon will be directly between the sun and the Earth. The combined gravity of moon and sun add up to a stronger gravitational pull on the Earth, and ocean levels rise more than normal as a result. We call these the spring tides, shown here greatly exaggerated. But when the moon is on the other side of its orbit, in other words fully illuminated by the sun and thus a full moon, we also get spring tides. Why? In the same way that the moon's pull on the Earth moves the Earth towards it slightly, the sun does the same. The combination of the sun's gravity pulling the Earth on one side and the moon's gravity on the other side has the effect of raising tides above their normal height, and we get spring tides. Therefore, spring tides occur twice a month, when the moon is new and when it is full. There's another type of tide which also occurs twice a month. This occurs when the sun and the moon are at right angles to each other with respect to the Earth. Whereas with spring tides, the moon's gravity and the sun's gravity reinforce each other, making the overall gravitational strength stronger. When the moon is at a right angle to the sun, the effect is the opposite. The gravity of moon and sun cancel each other out somewhat, leading to lower tides. These are called neap tides, characterized by lower high tides, higher low tides, and a smaller overall tidal range. Neap tides occur when the moon is in its first and third quarter phases. It would be wrong, however, to think of the tides as a simple rising and falling of the oceans. In reality, it's a complex movement of ocean currents in both clockwise and anti-clockwise directions, shown here in this NASA illustration. The overall effect of this complex interplay of interacting ocean currents is to raise and lower the surface levels of the ocean, but as you can see, it's a complicated dance of water around the globe. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this brief look at how the moon creates the tides. Do check out our other videos in the Space Oddities Moon Month series. You will find them in the Moon Month playlist on the Space Oddities channel. Thank you so much for watching.